Hello, everybody. This is Evan, founder and CEO of Gentatech, and we are back today with another high-level overview. Today's episode is pretty fun. We get to take a peek behind the curtain, and you can see how our operations work a little bit as we're going to overview exactly how our endpoint detection and response software works to protect our clients. Now, what does that mean? The whole point here is to give this information in a way that business owners with a non-technical background can understand. So that is exactly what we're going to attempt to do. So an endpoint detection and response software is a integral part of any MSP. If you currently have an MSP and you're not being protected in this fashion, you should contact them and ask them about it. That way you can make sure that you are doing what you need to do to ensure that you're safe, right? And the way that this works is this monitors activity on your devices for malware and ransomware attacks. So if you are the victim of a cyber attack, this software will work to stop it in its tracks. It will then alert our security and operations center, and we can then react the way that's proper. Now, this is important to understand. The software itself is very, very, very extensive. There is a ton of artificial intelligence packed in it, which then leaves us a bunch of options for how to configure and then how to respond to things. Depending on what it is, a device may need to instantly be popped off of a network just to quarantine it and segregate it and make sure that can't spread anywhere. If it is a device that cannot be popped off of a network without a catastrophic failure, we don't want that thing hopping off of a network every single time. There's something minute detected. So as far as the configuration and the personal configuration on the business-to-business cases, you don't need to know the in-depths of that, or you don't need to be an expert on that. What you do need to do is make sure you hire somebody that you trust so they can use their expertise to protect you. Now, with that said, I always do want to be able to explain how things work on a foundational level, so that's what we're going to do here. So on the left side, we actually have our endpoint detection software here. What we've done is spun up a trial version of this for this particular case. It's a sandbox version that we use for testing. That way, we don't run the off chance of any of our actual clients' endpoints popping up and we're giving out private information and things of that nature. With that said, there's nothing missing here. This works the exact same way as our live version works. So this is going to be an overview that is direct and will be your experience if we so happen to protect your devices in the future. All right, so the device that we're currently going to be attacking is going to be on the right side here. And what we're going to be doing is downloading a piece of malware. I want to make this difficult. So what we're going to do is download malware that is inside of a zip file, just to make sure that this thing can, pick things up and pick things up quickly. Now, on the left side here, what we'll do is we'll respond to that, and we'll show you what the process of responding to these things are in our security operations center. So let's start on the right. First, we have to have the threat before we can respond to it. So what we're going to do is download this one here. And matter of fact, just so you can do your own research, this is a website. This is legitimate testing malware here. If your AV or endpoint detection software can pick this up, that is a legitimate pickup and it counts. And we will actually go ahead and show you that as well. Okay, so let's download and let's try. Woo! We see here terminated associated processes. So what happens when we try to save it? Well, we get a download error. So what's happening on this side here is, perhaps an employee has clicked on something that they shouldn't have. And instead of just popping up a warning, what the endpoint detection process does is actually terminate the process itself that's associated with the download. So from the processing level, the computer does not have the ability to move forward anymore, which is why this doesn't respond to being clicked. So this entire process has been killed. All right. So now on our side of things, let's go ahead and hop in our security operations center and let's take a peek. Well, look at here. We have an unresolved threat. Let's look at this. And sure enough, it's malicious. It is the endpoint that is over here. And we can see this is undefined and unresolved. So what one of our security officers will do is click on this. We'll take a peek here, and all of this may look confusing, but some of it is important, and I want to get some of this through to you. So the originating process is a really, really important one here. We can see exactly where this malicious activity originated from. That's very, very important when it comes to trying to segregate or quarantine potentially, malicious software, whether that be software that was downloaded maliciously from the beginning, or software that has been running okay and then has been attacked and then now is associated with malware. Either way, since we can view the originating process, we have the information that we need to understand where it's coming from. And then what we have is this string here. So we won't get into exactly what SHA-1 is or what this string is, but what we will do is explain it to you this way. This is the identifying marker of this particular piece of malware. So if this malware has infected a computer on the other side of the world, this marker here would identify that this is this specific malware. Now that's important because we need to know exactly what this is. So our officers can open this over in VirusTotal, and now we can see how other security vendors have reacted to this malware here. And as you can see, companies as big as Google have detected this and then also called this malware as well. So what we'll do is take a peek here and we'll legitimize the threat. That way we can understand that we're not getting any false positives, or at least understand how to mark it. So now that we've confirmed that this is malicious, we'll go back to here, and now we have some things to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to consider this a true positive, right? And then we're going to go ahead and resolve this, okay, because this has been quarantined. So this entire file is quarantined. We're not going to pop this thing off of a network, although we very well could do that. But the file itself has been quarantined, so that's all we're going to need to do. And you can see the quarantine here, all right? And you can see that it was killed concerning the processes. So this is the information that we need to feel comfortable saying that this has been resolved, even though we didn't have to do much on the back end as far as popping it off of a network, putting it back on the network, things of that nature. Okay, so now that that's the case, before I click resolve here, I want you to keep your eyes down here. Right after I click resolve, pop your eyes down here. Because remember, this is our endpoint detection software that's going to be ran just from our agents in our security operations center. So you're not going to be able to see this. And this is the infected computer. So this is your computer, an employee's computer, or anybody associated with your network. And what's going to happen here is as soon as we resolve this is going to automatically send a message to the user of the infected computer that things have been resolved and you're okay to proceed forward. All right, so let's go resolved. And we'll give that a second to set. And then we see it right here. The security team in your organization has resolved the security incident. So not only does it detect, quarantine, kill, give us the ability to configure this in literally thousands of different ways and really, really drill down and take care of people on an individual level concerning what your needs are. Not only does it do that, but it also comes over here and gives us the ability to communicate with the end user so they know when things are okay. All right. We also have some other cool abilities on here. If we were to try to download something like this and it was to get through, what we could do is we could do a right click and then you can scan individual files. If we want to pop this open here, this is on every agent's individual computer. We can see our threat history. So you can see we've been doing some tests here all the way back for a couple of weeks on this specific machine. And this test history here, lets you understand exactly what you've been hit with. But more importantly, this acts as an index of everything that we've sent over to you as far as if we've quarantined the files or not. So again, that's important because if we, claim that the file has been quarantined, right, and it really hasn't been, then it won't show up here. So if you've had a certain amount of threats and you don't see, that number line up with your quarantine files, that discrepancy means there's something going on that there shouldn't be. So this does add some transparency on the end user side. Again, we don't have access to change any of this information. This is specifically for the end user to kind of be able to verify some of the processes going on. So once again, this is just a very high level overview of how your devices are protected. Again, this is made to kill processes as they're happening. If it was to get through, we also quarantine. And then beyond that, for actual clients and not just a sandbox test area, we will talk with you, speak with you, find out exactly how important your individual devices are to your network, what role they play, and that way we can come up with a process to go in and either quarantine these things or pop them off of the network or segregate them for the network or do any of these other things that we need to do to ensure that not only is a virus eliminated from that computer itself, but it also does not spread across the network. So I appreciate you tuning in. Again, this is Evan Lipford, founder and CEO of Gentatech. And if you are interested in speaking to us about maybe getting on a plan, helping yourself out, protecting your business, protecting your network, feel free to shoot us an email at info@gentatech.com, and we will see you next time.